What's up, everyone? Today there's an Exmark on the table. I had this whole thing planned to say this is probably the only machine I would ever buy that new, besides maybe like a super recycler. But then I started to notice a few odd things, which I don't know if it's just been rigged, but let me show you. What is that doing there for? I mean, obviously it's just there to hold the pin or to make sure this whole assembly doesn't slide out, but okay. Usually you wouldn't have to do that because this should just be enough pressure, just kind of clamps down to the governor rod, whatever. Then I started looking at this and I noticed that there was a primer bulb sticker there. Like, that's odd. I thought these all had chokes. And then lo and behold, primer bulb. So this is probably the first one I've seen like this. And this housing appears to be a whole lot newer looking than the rest of it. I don't really know if I like this. Does it even work? I don't even know if it works. Okay. But yeah, that's fairly normal right there. The main concern on this one is this whole cord doesn't want to go in or out or anything. I'm just hoping it's not an engine problem. So let's think about this and let's regroup. So I feel like I should do a video one day of who you should work for and what business you should work on. Maybe I will one day. But the person that I'm doing this for is a real nice guy. You can tell he is good at what he does. He's not a mechanic. He's also, I don't know, thrifty, I guess would be the word. And the fact that he usually buys his stuff used. I'm pretty sure this is not new. Oh, it's not the plug I thought it was. But that's not a bad thing. Pretty much all mine, it's the same way. I just fixed it. But, okay. I guess my point of it was saying that the reason why I say that is he brings some stuff that has some peculiar problems. One of them is this one. I tried pulling on the cable, and all I heard, by the way, that's what I'm looking at. It's completely bridged over with oil and gas. Anyway, when I pulled on it, I heard like squish, and that usually means there's a lot of fluid in the cylinder. So I think we might have found our problem. Shut the garage door so there's less noise, but when I opened that or took the plug out, all of this came out. So it was obviously hydrolocked. I mean, I'm probably not going to like what comes out, but if your cylinder has too much fluid in there, it's not going to not going to be able to compress liquid. I mean, liquid doesn't compress like air does, obviously. So just gonna check the oil. And that oil is a 100% gas. So, well, okay, 80% gas. So what I think we have here is a bad carb. Hopefully the engine's okay. And I'm sure if I pulled it over, well, no, don't really want to pull over now. Because if, actually, let's get a towel and we will check the level. Because if it's so high, where literally every single square inch of available space behind the piston is just soaked with gas and oil. Hydrolocking works both ways, except this way will shove fluid out the crankcase vent and probably in the filter. Granted, we are going to be doing a full tune-up, so that's not be too much of a problem. It's full, but it's definitely over full, but not insanely over full. So I bet if I gave the pull cord a pull now, it would. Yep, already moving. And the pull cord still doesn't want to retract all the way, but the engine's at least moving. So that's the problem right now for this one. It's completely hydrolocked. That could be it. Someone put too much fuel in when priming it, because when you're priming it, you're shoving raw fuel into the throat of the carburetor, and then you pull it. Engine sucks in that raw fuel and starts. Well, if someone did that so many times, and the first time was just too many to begin with, then just fouled the plug and they just kept on pushing, that could happen. You would have to push for a long time though. So while that's a possibility, I'm pretty sure we have a carb problem. So I'm going to probably take off the carb, we'll dump the oil, and then we will put new oil, clean the carb, and we'll test it out from there, I suppose. Let's take off this for the filter. And looks like we have two 10 millimeters right here. If I remember correctly, there's another one somewhere. Oh yeah, it's right here. And apparently that's one of the grounds. Have to remember that. For the switch that may or may not work. Trying to see. Okay. So, oh, it's still seeping. Let's just turn off the fuel. This might be an oily mess. I mean, might. I'm pretty sure it already is. Let's just pull off the tube from the back here. This is that crankcase. Oh my god, this is the weirdest system ever. Okay, I think we at least got some of it out. There we go. Wow, can you see that oil and just nonsense in there? Yeah. That, I hope I wouldn't have to say is probably not ideal. I think we're gonna have to take off that fuel line and then take off that primer bulb line. Go from there. Naturally everything is in the way, so know if these fuel pliers are way too big, but let's try them. I didn't even bother to check to see if there was fuel in this. No, there was not. Probably because it all went into the engine. But it did not escape as gas. Getting caught up on. Are you joking me? The deck is, the ridge on there is too tall for the nut on the bottom of the carburetor, so I'm hitting the deck. So that means I'm gonna have to take off at least one of these posts and hopefully just one, because then I could just tip it, and hopefully I won't do too much with that. Then that governor linkage is there. Well, I'm going to take off two, basically just take two of the bolts, tighten it up. I'm going to get a 10mm, and then you use these, you lock them together, and then the rod just spins right out. And then just to kind of show, I tighten that up, and now when I spin the entire rod should come out. The front one is just kind of there to hold this in place. I don't think it will do anything. Let's try it. There we go. Taking these apart is not always fun. We don't have to take off two. Very good. Now I don't have to do this potentially 4 times. Take off this spring, which really doesn't want to get off. Okay, let's take this oil-soaked beast to the carb station. This is definitely one of the dirtier carbs. Just on the outside. I mean, wow. Let's see, is that a 10mm? I do not think so. Probably a 12. Yeah, that is not going to fit. But this one will. What? This is not a clean cup because it still has remnants from a previous project, but it's, I know it's going to be in here, I just don't want it all over my stand. Gentle persuasion, never hurt anything. As long as it's gentle. That's disgusting. Sometimes if you just push it the other way, it will kind of free itself up. Oops. Oh my god. I hate hammers. Pick up that before I forget about it. And step on it. My parallel pliers. Oh. No, even that's not working. I might have to... Can't really put that in a punch very well, can you? Let's... Maybe just working it back and forth a little bit will give us the leverage we need. Here we go. These parallel pliers give you some pretty good grip when space is a premium. Okay. Not going to worry about that. So there is a jet in there. Well, I don't know if it's clogged. I'm just going to go under the assumption that it is clogged, because it's a carburetor in my garage. Does that emulsion tube come out? Yes, it does. Is there a jet underneath the gate? Oh, there is one right there. That's one of those annoying ones that you can't really adjust unless you take this off. Just gonna leave that in there for now. Throw this underneath the sink. Try to get it as clean as possible, and then put this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and we'll put it back together. This kind of looks like the love child car between a Briggs & Stratton and a Honda. I don't want to spray, because if you get it on that seal, it's not going to be very good, so it's a spray right here. There we go. The bowl nut is a jet, but then it also has another jet. Okay. That wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. Smaller Q-tip, attempt number 2. Looks pretty clean. So I'm pretty sure the needle and seat is what gave way. Because I did drain the oil, or the gas, however you want to look at it, out, and there was a lot of gas in there. It's one of those questions I didn't know where I should be putting it. Should I put it in my old gas section, or my disposable oil? So this one. Don't really know how much I like that. I mean, it didn't necessarily sound horrible. It also didn't sound great. The needle looks fine. I see. There's a small little indent in there. That may not be good. I'm going to get some of that hand cleaner. So that orange hand cleaner, I got some on the end of the Q-tip. Let's just put that in there. Definitely thoroughly soaked. Let's just take another Q-tip. I'm going to work on that. So, did that for a bit. Seems to be pretty good now. There's like a small something in there that was pretty close to the edge, or where the fuel comes out. So, I didn't want to risk any chances, and while it did shut off-ish, it seems like I had to press on it. You shouldn't even have to press on it a little bit, just gravity pushing the float down should be enough to stop it. And that was not happening for me. Take off those little nasty bits. So that looks good. Let's try again. I like that. I'm gonna put the bowl on, put it back on, and we'll give it a try. This is odd. There's like these holes on the side, but then this is definitely a jet. Those holes don't even line up either. Just weird. Let's just put this in and see if, I mean, it would have to run. This is what it came with. There is a pretty significant thickness to the bowl there. So maybe the threads only go to that point. And so that opening's done. It still is able to shoot fuel up there as well. Oh, that is for the primer. That makes sense now. Okay. So the primer is on the same side as the fuel was. And put this back together. So I have 100% no doubt in my head that it's going to smoke like a freight train. I put oil in it, gas, spark plug. I don't have a filter. The other one's pretty nasty, so I'm just going to leave it off for the time being until I order one. And we'll check everything else out, but let's see how bad it smokes. Yep, I was right. I need to order a switch, let that run, and yeah, it's disgusting, but so I need to order a switch. Blade clutch seems fine. The reason why the pull cord isn't going is that it needs to be rewound, so I'm going to re-grind it. Probably new cable, because that one's a little frayed anyway, and double check, leave it underneath some paper to see if it's leaking anywhere again. Other than that, it should be about it. Yeah, it should be a decent little mower. I'm going to check the oil one more time and get a new oil filter, and probably have to change it out again, but at least now we can check it and see if it's okay. So if you like what you see, keep on watching. Throw a thumbs up if this helps you. If you have any pull cord and pull seizure issues and you're not quite sure why, double check if it's flooded. It could be hydrolocked. So it could be hydrolocked, you know, and that's pretty common for a carburetor issue. Well, like I said, throw a thumbs up, subscribe, keep on watching, leave a comment if you have any questions below. See everyone later, and bye. You can see the smoke coming off it. I let it run for like a good 10 minutes. There's a lot of oil in there, and it smoked for the entire time. It barely stopped. I think there's a little more oil on the exhaust. It probably pumped quite a bit in there. Okay, actually the ending. See everyone later.